This morning we're going to discuss the laws of this Shabbat. This Shabbat is Tisha B'Av, and therefore Tisha B'Av is pushed over to Sunday, starting Motzai Shabbat. The reason for this is that Shabbat is a Torah obligation to be observed, and Tisha B'Av, out of all of the rabbinical fasts, it's definitely the most stringent of all of the rabbinical fasts. I'm saying all fasts besides for Yom Kippur. However, still the rabbinical fast of Tisha B'Av will not overthrow the observance of Shabbat and having the Oneg Shabbat, the enjoyment and pleasure of Shabbat. So here are a couple, the main halachot that need to be observed this Shabbat. Firstly, Erev Shabbat. For the Sfaradim this year, our tradition is that there was no prohibition of cleaning ourselves, bathing, even in hot water, cutting hair. There's no Shavua Shechalbo this year, according to our tradition, since Tisha B'Av falls out after Shabbat. So according to the letter of the law, we are allowed to shave this week. Now, this Shabbat, this Erev Shabbat, even according to those who are of the opinion that we could cut hair and shave this week, tomorrow one should not. And the reason for that is that when we come into the day of Tisha B'Av, even though we were allowed to shave and cut hair today, coming in freshly shaved, freshly haircut is not something nice. So if anyone would like to shave for Shabbat, for Tisha B'Av, if you would so want, then this morning, today, is the proper or the last opportunity for a Sephardic individual to get a haircut or to shave. That's halakha number one. Next, when it comes today, not tomorrow. Tomorrow is Erev Shabbat, and we should not cut or shave our hair Erev Shabbat this year because Tisha B'Av is, we don't want to come in looking good, so to say, to Tisha B'Av. Next halakha is when it comes to dressing up for Shabbat. This Shabbat we're allowed to dress as fancy as we always dress for every Shabbat, even though it is Tisha B'Av. Again, on Shabbat we're not allowed to show any signs of mourning. Similarly, we're allowed to and we're supposed to drink wine and eat meat as every regular Shabbat. There are certain nuances, listen to this halakha, that we're not supposed to take a tiyul. We're not supposed to take a stroll this Shabbat. Walking to the Beit Knesset, if you're invited at someone's home, or someone's coming to you, that's obviously not a problem. You're going and you're walking for a purpose. But just to walk to air out, or to, I don't know, unless a person would have some acid reflux if they don't walk around the block after they eat, we should not take these leisurely tours or walks on this Shabbat. However, we are allowed to still learn Torah, even though learning Torah on Tisha B'Av is not allowed since it falls out on Shabbat. This Shabbat we're allowed to learn Torah all the way until sundown, all the way till around 8-10 p.m. That would be completely permitted. If an individual, one is allowed, a couple, according to the Sephardic tradition, is allowed to have intimate relations this Shabbat, even though it is Tisha B'Av. But again, we don't show signs of mourning. The Ramah for Ashkenazim prohibits intimate relations. That is for Ashkenazim, unless it is her mikveh night. If her mikveh night would be Friday night, then it would be permitted. But for Sfaradim, there's no restriction when it comes to that. Very quickly, let's discuss the Seudah HaMafseket, the final meal before the fast starts. This Seudah Mafseket is different in its nature than all other Seudah Mafsekets that we normally do before Tisha B'Av. Normally before Tisha B'Av, we sit on the floor, we eat bread dipped in ash, and many of us have a hard-boiled egg, or you have a lentil soup. It's a very small and dry and very saddening meal, just like a mourner, but literally we're sitting on the floor when we do so. And we don't do zimun for three men. We don't eat together on purpose, so everyone goes and eats in their own little corner. Now, this year, since it is Shabbat, the Seudah HaMafseket is going to be Seudah Shelishit, and there are absolutely no restrictions. We should eat meat then, if you normally do, or if you have leftovers, and you should have wine and bread and salads and anything and everything that you want. That Seudah Mafseket, you are allowed to and you are supposed to eat it properly, sitting up, not on the floor obviously, and you do zimun, and everyone does it together. What happens is that by sundown, which is approximately 8:10, 8:11 here in South Florida, is when the Seudah should be completely finished. No more eating or drinking should be done by then. At that moment, still, a person now should now observe the laws of Tisha B'Av. No eating or drinking, no bathing, no putting ointment, no intimate relations. The only thing which is not observed right away is the changing of one's shoes. You're supposed to still keep your leather shoes on from 8:10 until 8:54 approximately, till when Shabbat ends. And then when Shabbat officially ends, that's when you can change your shoes to non-leather shoes, and that's when you should change your clothes even to non-Shabbat clothes. Just for the schedule, what will happen here the Shabbat afternoon, and this is the tradition in many communities, this is the easiest way to facilitate, Mincha, the Shiur and Mincha is going to be a little earlier than normal, and then after Mincha, everyone's going to go home and do Seudah Shlishit with their family. After the Seudah Shlishit with your family, you're going to wait out that 45 minutes, so to say, till you change your clothes. You'll say, Baruch HaMavdil Ben Kodesh Lechol, without Hashem's name, just exactly that, Baruch HaMavdil Ben Kodesh Lechol. Change your clothes, get in the car, no Havdalah. Get in the car, come to the Beit Knesset, and around 9:15 we're going to start Arvit. After Arvit, we're going to do an abbreviated, not really Havdalah, we're going to do Atah Honantanu, we're going to do Borei Meorei Ha'esh, and Havdalah is going to take place on Sunday night before we eat. There's more halachot, we'll get into it, B'ezrat Hashem, but just specific for this Shabbat, it's important that we know that it is, on one hand, a regular Shabbat, yet there are very slight nuances which make it different because it is Tisha B'Av.